Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm talking today about trees actually, and I'm talking about trees because yesterday as I was sitting around sort of just pondering and tuning into the energy, I was getting this really interesting sense of this deep desire to really connect with nature and to really use nature to my benefit, to help me manifest things that I want in my life, to help me ground, to help me really align myself in a very specific and a very powerful way. And so as I was sitting pondering all these things and thinking about like how much I just really want to be outside all the time, now that we have this gorgeous, beautiful spring weather here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's just so nice after a long winter to be outside, to be barefoot, to have significantly less clothing on, less layers, right? It just feels so good and it feels so nurturing if you really think about it. Right? Like that's why we're always excited for spring and for the good and the warm weather to come because we know that we just have this innate calling that we desire to be outside. We really want to soak in the sun and just take in the fresh air and just all the beauty, and the birds are singing and the bees are buzzing, right? It's just such an absolutely creative time actually more than anything. And so as I was sitting last night, I really felt connected to the trees that are around in my neighbors' yards and stuff like that. And I was sitting outside and I was just really just taking it in. Like it was like the air even smelt different. It was so fresh and so filling and so nurturing. It was such a wonderful feeling, actually. So I thought I'd hop on and just talk a little bit about the importance of trees, how incredibly powerful they are in helping us to connect to ourselves first and foremost, and how incredibly healing and balancing trees are, and not just trees, of course, all of nature. But today, specifically, I want to talk about the maple tree because maple is so incredibly abundant here in Canada and obviously all over the States as well, and in many parts of the world. It's a very resilient tree, very, very beautiful tree, actually, very colorful, as we know when fall comes and the leaves start changing color. And there's just such a huge variety of color to them as well. But maple trees are not just pretty, they are definitely powerful, actually, in aligning our masculine and our feminine sides. So, for people that feel very out of balance or out of character for themselves, or if you're just feeling generally like things are off within you. So as a woman, you might feel like you're too much in your masculine energy, and that might show up for you in many different ways. Feeling maybe perhaps a bit more aggressive, being more harsh with your words, not being very nurturing, just really like overly into the masculine side. And you can actually, I identify this, I see this within people all the time. I can tell when a woman is way too far in her masculine energy versus her feminine energy. And that's when I always will make recommendations to clients of like how to balance that and to bring themselves back into the actual gender that they were born as, because this is very important. It's important to honor the actual gender that you are born as. It's very important to honor the energy of that, right? Because this isn't so much about the gender itself, it's about the energy of like the feminine energy and the masculine energy separately. And it's always those two pieces that make us one whole. Whether you're a man or a woman alive on this planet right now, you have both the masculine and the feminine energies within you. And that can really fall out of balance. And for men too, of course, it can be. I've met men who are like overly emotional and just overly, in their feels all the time and stuff like that. And that's actually being too far in feminine energy for a masculine, right? Or a masculine can be extremely in their masculine energy and too far in their masculine energy, not enough in their feminine, meaning they become very out of touch with nurturing. They become very out of touch with the whole just softness and to be more gentle, to be more compassionate, to be more understanding. Those things are more feminine traits. And so masculine, when they're way too far in their masculine energy, they tend to be very egotistical, very much in their ego. They want to control things. They want a power trip. They want to do all these different stuff. And we always know this, right? We can always see, actually, you've seen I'm sure you have. And I have seen women that were excessively in their masculine energy and just really tried to like powerhouse people. And then same with men, being too far in their masculine, doing the same kind of thing. So, or like, it's actually more rare, to be honest, for me to find, I have seen it, but it's more rare for me to come across a person who is more in their feminine energy than they are in their masculine, regardless of their sex. So on average though, like when I'm working with people, what I really notice and see is that most people are out of balance when it comes to masculine and feminine energies within them. And the maple tree, of all trees, because it's so abundantly growing all over the place, is an incredibly wonderful tool, energy tool that we can use to balance this out within ourselves, to bring us back into harmony, into alignment, and to really ground and anchor in that feeling of balance within the masculine and feminine sides within us. So trees are extremely powerful, that like tools that we have just not acknowledged. We have forgotten, and have never actually been taught a lot of the native traditions, a lot of their belief systems and their spirituality. And had we been taught as children, I think we would all have a much deeper connection with plants, with the natural world, with trees. And we would also have a significantly deeper understanding of their value, of how incredibly powerful they are and how much they can help nurture and balance us and ground us, right? So there's a couple of things I want to mention here. I have this really awesome book called Nature Speaks: Signs, Omens, and Messages in Nature by Ted Andrews. And it's a fabulous book. Sorry, it's backwards. But this is a really, really good book that I will refer to from time to time. And I just kind of felt inspired to pick it up this morning. And when I opened it at a specific tree. I opened it at the redwood for myself. And the redwood symbolizes ancient protection and balance and pursuing new visions, which is right on par with what I need at this time. So as soon as I read the meaning of it, I knew 100% that message was for me. So I'm going to be either seeking out some redwood, or if I can't find a redwood, then I will seek out the next best thing and really connect with that tree and help myself to really connect to these new exciting projects and different things that I want to work on. So back to the maple for a moment. I don't know if you guys knew this, but it takes 30 gallons of syrup, or of like sugar water that comes out of the maple tree to make 1 single gallon of maple syrup. And it has to be boiled down. That 30 gallons has to be boiled down very, very slowly. And you'll get about 1 gallon of maple syrup from that. Now, only the sugar maple produces maple syrup. So it's particularly the sugar maple is connected to actually sexuality, which I'll explain why in a moment, making it particularly in alignment with balancing the masculine and feminine energies. So when, according to native traditions, when a sugar maple is tapped, the insertion of the tap into the tree itself creates an opening. It creates a flow, right? So as this sweet, watery, syrupy liquid starts to come out of the maple tree, the representation of that flow and of the tap that has been inserted to allow this sweet flow to happen actually symbolizes intimacy, right? Because when you insert the tap, then you get a sweet flow that comes as a result of inserting that tap, right? So it's for that reason, it brings a huge balance. Like I said, the sugar maple brings a big, big balance into that masculine, feminine energy within us. And it's very interesting because when you sit at the base of a tree, which I do this all the time when I'm in the forest, when I sit at the base of a tree and I just kind of take in the energy of that tree and I allow it to start moving through me, and I allow by just leaning my back up against the bark. I usually close my eyes and I allow myself to really connect with the tree, to connect to the essence, the soul of that tree, because trees have souls and like spirit beings within them. And so when I connect to it, it automatically starts to project different images into my mind. It will start showing me what the spirit within that tree actually looks like, what color it is. It does have a color to it. Oftentimes they're blue. They have this very beautiful, almost indigo blue color to them. Very interesting looking, by the way. And it starts to send me messages. So as I'm leaning up against the bark, this tree will send me messages in terms of wisdom, is the only way I can kind of describe it. It's like these wise snippets of information or frequency are channeled into me because I'm consciously connecting to the tree, because I'm consciously choosing to align myself with that being in that moment, right? Because we're always creating and manifesting from the present moment. So as I'm sitting there and I'm taking this in and this information, I start to, and I'm thanking the tree, of course, for the wisdom that it is imparting me, for the energy that it is filling me up with. And as I'm sitting there, I literally will start to feel like massive tingling, usually starting at my root chakra. So right at the base of my spine, there will be a gentle tingling that'll start, and then the tingling will spread down my legs. That's how I know I'm getting like really grounded and I'm super plugged in, if you will, to the energy of that tree. So the tingling sensation kind of moves through my legs right to the bottoms of my feet, and then it'll start actually moving up my body. So it'll start moving up my spine as well. And I will notice this really nurturing is the best word I can really use. Nurturing feeling starts to rise within me, and it just harmonizes. Like it just balances out both sides of my body. I can feel that, physically. And I just get this sensation when it really reaches the top of my head, actually, in my brain. That's where like the magic really starts to happen. And I can feel this sort of spinning, this flow of energy going within my mind and kind of down my spine all the way. It's a really, really interesting feeling. But give yourself some time, give yourself an opportunity to go and connect with a tree like that. Especially today, it's such a beautiful day here. If it's not a beautiful day where you are, then just hopefully on the next beautiful day, you can get outside and really connect and allow that wisdom to come through. It's like you just listen, and you listen with, like, without distractions. My thoughts will come and go, but I'm so much more interested in what the tree has to say that I can really just dismiss the thoughts, and I can push them out very quickly and just tune in and hone in on the message that the tree is trying to deliver me, and really on paying attention to the sensations in my body and what it's actually doing and where I'm being balanced out. Because I will feel blockages release within my body, and usually there's a bit of pain with that release. So I'll have a sensation of something move through, and sometimes it'll be like just this heaviness. And it's like kind of pushing down my leg, and then all of a sudden just pops open at the bottom of my feet, and then the energy flows out. So very interesting, very cool sensations that we can have just by simply connecting to trees. And it's very important to note too that many trees have many different qualities about them, and they can help us and support us in many different ways. I'm only focusing on the maple today because I didn't want to kind of get into there's so many different ones in this book that are described, but just the maple, because it's most commonly available for us, would be an excellent, go to the park, like wherever you have a maple tree. If you have one in your front yard, sit in your front yard and just go chill up against it and read a book, sip on a cup of tea or do whatever, and just really take it in. Allow this nurturing to happen. Allow this recalibration, this balancing out to happen, because the sugar maple specifically sends in energy into both the left and the right side of the body. And as it starts to move this energy through the body, it really is like leveling up your vibration. It sends this high frequency light actually in to the body and allows that light to move through, and it really harmonizes and balances everything out. And, a lot of people don't believe in this stuff because they can't see it, or in many cases, they're so numb to their actual environment and to nature because they're so inside all the time. They're always wearing shoes with soles, right? Like they're not connecting. So for some people, they can't even fathom this to be real because they have no experience of connecting, essentially. So if you're one of those people, then the only way that you're going to get into that flow and have established this deeper connection with nature is actually by practicing it. So getting out and doing it and try and be barefoot and spend some time under trees and really try to tune in. And before you know it, I think by the second, third time, you're going to have an experience. You're going to notice something. And maybe even the very first time that you actually consciously connect, you're going to notice something changes or shifts within you after doing so. And it's free. Nature is free. It's just there. It's available. And it is absolutely endlessly giving to us. We just have to know how to receive the wisdom of nature and how to allow it into ourselves. We also have to learn and understand how to reconnect with nature, how to reestablish that connection that we've lost. Because let's face it, we've lost this connection through our busy lives, through the way that our shoes are designed and made, and the lack of time that we spend outside. We're inside so much, right? Where trees and nature is constantly outside. It's constantly taking in sunlight photons, and therefore that light is what is being transferred into us when we are outside through nature and also through the sun. So I wanted to just read a couple things here. So maple trees are associated with linking and balancing the male and female, as I mentioned before. They balance the yin and yang energies, both electrical and magnetic. So there's an electrical and a magnetic effect to maple trees. It helps the individual to ground psychic and spiritual energies and to find practical means of expressing them within their lives. So that's another thing that they can really, really support you with if that's something you feel you need help with. They're very activating to the chakras in the arches of the feet, which enable the individual to stay tied to the energies of Mother Earth, which I mentioned. This is the earthing, the grounding effect that maple trees have, and all trees have, by the way. But maple in particular. They were also very popular in the past. They used to make wands out of maple trees quite a bit for both men and women for different reasons. So for men, a staff or a wand of maple would be very beneficial to work with, as it would facilitate the awakening and proper expression of the feminine aspect of nurturing, intuition, and creativity. So if a man needed balance in those areas of nurturing, intuition, and creativity, then they would be either given or they would carve themselves a wand or a staff out of maple. Now for women, a staff or wand of maple would help stimulate more outward creative expression. So this would actually help them to make things. So outward expressions of creation are definitely making things with the hands, right? And working with the hands. So that would be something that would help with. So maples have the energy of sweet promises and aspirations. They awaken the inner fire, which illuminates without burning. Maples remind us to keep a balance between our masculine and feminine side. When they are in balance, our intuition is sharper, our creativity is stronger, and we are healthier as a whole. So that's my little tidbit about maple trees and why it's incredibly important to connect with them. And particularly at this time with the new moon that we just had, with Jupiter moving into Taurus, which has so much to do with creative expression, this is an excellent time to connect with maples and allow the maple tree to really activate you creatively, to really help you express that. And if you can even find sticks or something or branches that have fallen off maple trees and perhaps working it into something that you find beautiful, or just leaving it as is and having a piece of it perhaps on your desk or wherever you're working, is actually really going to help boost that creativity and that productivity in that area for you. So try that out, guys. Get out and connect to nature, connect to trees, connect to the environment that is around you, and reestablish this connection and really start using nature to your advantage, because she just wants to serve and nurture us. And that is exactly what Mother Earth does, is she nurtures us through all of the different plants, which are medicine, and many trees, which are also considered medicine. And if it's not physical medicine, then it is energetic medicine or emotional medicine that it can provide. So we need to remind ourselves that this is available to us. It costs us nothing. And as a matter of fact, it brings harmony and realignment within us in such a way that I don't actually feel like any machine or any AI or anything else would be able to do for us as naturally and without side effects. So use this knowledge and this wisdom and use your own God-given power to choose more alternative ways to nurture and support yourself at this time. Thank you so much for watching, for tuning in, for hitting a like on your way out, and thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate you, and I hope that I can continue serving up awesome content for you guys to help connect us to the deeper meanings of life and to the planet and to, of course, the creator, him, herself. Thanks again for watching. Take care.